Hello, everyone. To see how this light is. Let me try turning this off and see if that's makes me kind of look blue. That's okay. We'll go with blue. Kind of in a little bit different setup here today. This here in my bedroom than I do in our office. So I thought I would try doing this in our bedroom. So hello, everyone. How are you all doing? It's been a while since I've been on, and I am going to really try to start making some YouTube videos again. It's because I have been so inconsistent with it. But like I said in my last update, I think I've really kind of needed a break from YouTube, especially with how intense homeschooling has become now. I feel like that is my full-time career, is educating my children. And that has just been taking up all of my time. So, but I really miss YouTube, and I'm going to try to make an effort to get a video out every once in a while. I will do my best, but my weekdays are just complete. But perhaps on the weekends, I will make an effort to get a few more videos out. So I hope you all are doing well. I wanted to give a little life update since we've had some big changes the last several months. First, I guess I just wanted to talk about health stuff. I guess hair regrowth and cancer recovery and all that. You can see my hair is actually getting pretty long now. I got a haircut about a month, 2 months ago now, because it was kind of starting to look like a mullet. And, we're not living in the 80s anymore. No business in the front, party in the back for me. So I got a little bit of a bob haircut. So you can see I got it a little shorter in the back and longer in the front. So yeah, it's with my haircut, it's been growing back really nicely now. I actually feel like my hair almost looks like it's into, like maybe I actually cut my hair on purpose this way, which I did. So I'm really happy with how it's growing out now. And in terms of cancer recovery, I am doing really well. I feel like I am energy-wise and everything pretty much fully recovered. It's been over a year now since treatment ended. I am scheduled to have because I have never to now have a yearly mammogram, and I have been feeling, I can't tell if it's my imagination or not. It doesn't feel like but in my remaining breast, I do feel a little bit of something in there, and I think it's just scar tissue from when I had mastitis when I was nursing Teo. I think that's what it is, but because of that, I have to get like a more detailed mammogram than like the generic regular, what do they call it, maintenance mammograms that they usually do yearly. So I'm in the process of working with my doctor and getting a referral for that, and hopefully it's nothing I'm not, but if it was breast cancer again, I know what I'm in for, but it's probably not. But I will be having a mammogram in the next month or so and making sure everything is a-okay there. I am aiming to have my reconstruction surgery this summer. I am going to have my first consultation with the plastic surgeon next week, I believe it is. And I'm going to try and get that set up for. I didn't want to do it last year because I had gone through so much surgery the previous year, because I had had mastectomy. I had had my port when I did chemo taken and out. Those were surgical procedures. And then I had my hysterectomy. And so it was just like surgeries up the yin yang. I was like, I need a break from surgery. My family needs a break from me having. So um, I am thinking that this next summer will be a good time for me to have my reconstruction surgery finally, because I'm still going around with my prosthetic here, which has been working fine, but it would be nice to have sort of normal boobs again. So, um, yeah, so I'm of setting that up for the summer. I think that will be a good time. The kids, I mean, we kind of homeschool year round, so we'll still be doing some schooling through the summer, but they won't have their school that we go to through our parent partnership. Obviously, that will be off for the summertime. So, and we should have, help from when I do that surgery. I think I've decided that I haven't decided for 100% sure, but what I'm leaning towards now is having a mastectomy on the other side as well. Um, because like just for the peace of mind, like I really don't want to have to go through the whole cancer treatment again. And even though, I'm on tamoxifen and, the drugs and stuff that are supposed to help, um, I still, just for peace of mind, like if I didn't have the other breast there, I would feel like there's no chance of me ever getting breast cancer again because there's there. um, so I'm kind of leaning towards getting mastectomy on the other side as well. And for reconstruction, they have a couple of options. You can get the silicone prosthetic ones, or they can give you a tummy tuck where they take fat from your belly and move it up. And that is a more involved surgery, and the recovery is a little more difficult and everything, but people seem to like it more because it looks, and you get a free tummy tuck out of it. So that sounds good to me. Getting a free tummy tuck and a boob job. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. And come with me, and when I have my consultation, and we'll discuss all of that stuff with the doctor. So that's kind of the latest with everything breast cancer recovery wise. In terms of other health stuff, I have been on a mission to lose weight this last couple of months. I believe I started in October. I felt like I was finally at a point where I could, kind of focus on my health again, like not only surviving, but thriving. When I went through, I had still had my baby weight from having three babies. Plus that made me gain another 10, 15 pounds. And I've just learned that genetically, my body is prone to obesity, and I have to be I have to work really hard to lose weight. And nothing has worked. Like I've tried everything. Like if you've been on my channel for a while, for a couple of years, you've probably seen all the things that I've tried. Consistent exercise. I've tried the Whole30. I've tried going low carb. I did intermittent fasting for a year, which did help a little, but not much. It didn't seem to have the magical powers that it does for some people, where you just do intermittent. Like what am I going to do? Because it was just uncomfortable. The weight that I was at was uncomfortable. Like my clothes or not fitting well. I just wanted to feel more comfortable in my body and feel healthy and be a good role model for my kids and everything. Um, you know, and not being obsessed with body image per se. I say that, I know that my worth comes from God and not from my appearance or anything about my physical body or anything that I'm doing. I have inherent worth. So when I talk about weight loss, it's not because I feel like I am, spiritually lacking or anything like that. I am very happy and feel very grounded in that way. But I feel, feel healthier and feel better in my skin. So, after trying everything, I was just kind of feeling defeated. Like, I don't know. I've tried everything and I'm just stuck at this really high weight, for my height. And I was like, okay, I have to do something, but I don't know what. I feel like I've tried everything. And so I prayed about it, and almost immediately I got this feeling like I should be trying calorie counting, and been resistant to calorie counting pretty much all the way along. Like, it just sounds like a way to become obsessed with numbers that didn't sound healthy to me. Um, but it felt like I was, you know, feeling this message, give it a try. And so I decided, like, okay, I'm just going to give it a try. I don't have, if it doesn't work, I don't have to stick with it. Um, so I did. I got onto my Fitness Pal, the app, the free app. You can pay for the like or whatever, but I just used the free one and with the ads and everything. Um, and I started, and it was hard at first. I'm allowed to have like 1,200 something calories for my height and what my current weight, my starting weight was, and how much I, wanted to lose, losing 1 pound per week at that rate. So it, realized to how much I was overeating without even realizing it. Like, I felt like I was eating a really balanced, healthy diet. But the portions, and like, I didn't even think that they were too much, but they were. I was really surprised. It was very eye-opening, just being held accountable to myself for every single thing that I for the kind of genetic metabolism that I have. This is what I have to do. This is the amount of calories that my body needs to be healthy. Um, Sorry, my phone was ringing. Um, so after the first week, I was shocked. I lost a pound, just like they said. Okay, maybe this is just lucky, I'll keep trying it to see if it is consistent. And sure enough, the next week I lost another pound, like clockwork. Gosh, this seems to be working. So I kept up with it, and soon enough I had lost 5 pounds, 10 pounds. And now that let's see, October, November, December, January, February, and I've lost 16 pounds. And I've just been like shocked that this seems to be the only thing that works for me, the only thing. Like, I'm not even exercising that much now. Like, I was pushing so hard with the exercise before, but that wasn't the thing. And so now I'm just really just focusing on, having the right number of calories for my body every day. And I do, I go walking when the weather is nice, when I find some free time, which free time, what's that? But so I do exercise when I can, but that's not like the main thing I'm focusing on right now. But just sticking to that number of calories has been, it's been kind of amazing because it's like I've been struggling for so long and feeling uncomfortable in my own skin, and now it just, like, my clothes are starting to fit better again. I'm just like 4 or 5 pounds away from being my pre-Teo weight, which is still, I had a total of about 40 to 50 pounds to lose. So I still have a ways to go, but it feels attainable for the first time ever now. It doesn't feel like before when I've tried all these other things and it's just like nothing is working. Like I might as well just give up. Um, so it is, it takes a lot of self control. I can't, it made me realize that I would just snack mindlessly, even if it was something healthy, or even if it was like chips, plain, tortilla chips. Like I realized that eating like 2 handfuls of tortilla chips is too much. Like the serving size is 11 chips. And so, um, it's just really, made me so much more aware of what I'm putting in my body. And it doesn't feel like I'm depriving myself in any way. It feels like psychologically healthy and spiritually healthy as well. Like I don't feel like I like control kind of thing, like I was afraid it might be. Um, it just makes me feel like it's holding me accountable for the amount of food that my body needs. So, yeah. So there we go. I'm down 15 pounds and I'm feeling good. And I'm hoping I will continue. I don't know if I will ever get down to my pre Alex weight from, back when I was 28 years old. Like that's, if I don't get there, that's okay with me. But even if I'm, 10 pounds above that weight, like I'll be totally happy. So, I'm not looking for like a perfect ripped body, but just a comfortable body. So, um, yeah, that's what's going on with that. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about was homeschooling. Homeschooling. I want to talk a lot more about homeschooling on my channel, like kind of my life right now. I feel like my channel is kind of, taking a turn. I started my channel when I had very small babies and children, and a lot of my early growth of my channel had to do with like cloth diapering and that kind of thing. But like Teo has been fully potty trained for a while now, and we're out of that season. And kid and baby season. Teo's 4, so he is still a little kid, but like I feel like that season is rapidly coming to a close, and now we are in big kid land. And as you guys know, we homeschool because Alex being twice exceptional, and just started homeschooling Sophie and Teo also because why not? We're kind of in the routine and they all seem to enjoy it. So, um, yeah, I was kind of going through a phase last year when I was wondering, like, do I really want to keep homeschooling? Or do I just want to put the kids in public school? Because like we lived, I'm not against public school. I went to public school. I love public school. I had a great experience, albeit I went to an alternative public school, but I still had a great public school experience. My kids would in public school as well, but and I was thinking, uh, hello, Andrea Vasquez, hola. But well, if I put them in school, then I can, maybe have more time to devote to my YouTube channel or maybe even going back and getting a job. But I I started feeling like, um, you know what? Like I actually really enjoy homeschooling. I just really enjoy it. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it. Um, quick backstory, I almost became a teacher when I was in college. I was a philosophy major and an education minor, and I went as far as student teaching and then dropped out of student teaching, which now I know why it wasn't working out for me. I have ADHD, and that learning that is required when you are a public school teacher is crazy. So I understand now why I had a nervous breakdown and why it didn't work out for me. But all along, I've loved teaching. That's it. Like it runs in my family. My mom was a teacher. I actually just found out that my great grandmother was a teacher as well, like back in the early 1900s, which is kind of cool. So like, it's in my blood, and I enjoy the act of itself. I just, you know, couldn't handle teaching 30 kids with 30 different needs and dealing with the bureaucracy and, with being a public school teacher. That I have so much respect for what public school teachers do. Like teachers, any teachers really. It's such a respectable job. Um, when I don't have to do all of the hard stuff that comes with being a public school teacher, the teaching itself, I love. I love doing it. And it's so rewarding, teaching my own kids both and seeing, like this knowledge that they have, thinking like, wow, we taught them that. That's so cool. So I really kind of had, a change of heart because I was thinking like, oh, well, I'll homeschool for a while, then I'll put but, first of all, Alex still is benefiting from, being autistic. I think he would really struggle in a public school setting. He would have a very hard time being in a classroom for 6 hours a day. That would just be so hard for him. And the flexibility that we have with homeschooling time wise, I can give him breaks whenever he needs them, and work with him with where he's at. Um, and then coming back around to Sophie and Teo, that's kind of been a bit of a journey figuring out Sophie and Teo lately. Of course, we know I've talked a lot about it on this channel. Alex is autistic, gifted, twice exceptional. Sophie is, has always been a little bit more typical, but we have started to see more struggle in the last year or so, especially since starting school. And it's, really making me start to wonder if she has ADHD. I don't think she's autistic. She doesn't seem to have the like social difficulties and the communication difficulties that have the executive functioning difficulty and the focus difficulty when we are doing school. And one of the biggest ones that we're struggling with Sophie is the emotional dysregulation. That is one of the biggest things that's really making me think ADHD. For her privacy, I won't go into detail what that looks like, but I'll just say she struggles with really big emotions sometimes. And so we actually trying to get a girl diagnosed is so much harder than getting a boy diagnosed. This is true of ADHD. This is true of autism. But just trying to get her an ADHD diagnosis through her doctor has been very difficult because the doctor doesn't believe me. And like her teachers can't see it as much because girls are really effective at masking. And like that's what I did when I was all throughout school. I was amazing at hiding it and hiding my struggles. It was all internal. Um, it was just huge amounts of anxiety that I was feeling on the inside, but nobody was so good at hiding it. And I know that that's what's going on with her as well. And so it makes it so much harder to diagnose girls because it's not as outwardly obvious as it more often is. And, the hyperactivity, they're all over the place. And, the autistic traits and stuff, they're just so much more blatant um, and external, whereas more internal. So we're in the process of that right now. We're going to since I am pushing, our doctor said, well, I can refer you to have her get an evaluation, like a neuropsych evaluation. So that's what we're going to do to see if we can get an ADHD evaluations. It's a process. It's never easy, but that's where we're at with Sophie. So really, if she's neurodiverse, even if she's not autistic, but ADHD, that makes learn. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I really think that has been affecting her learning progress. And I think that it would be regardless of whether she was in the public school or whether we're homeschooling. And then Teo. Teo is 4.5, and pretty sure that he is gifted as well. He is picking up reading like that at 4.5. He's not quite as hyperlexic as Alex was. Alex started reading at age 2, but he does seem to be a little bit hyperlexic. I also don't know if Teo is autistic. If he is, it's much more subtle than it is with Alex. He does have some traits where he's like very rigid about certain things, and that makes me wonder sometimes because he is so rigid sometimes and very, very stubborn, which reminds me a lot of Alex. And also, just really like advanced cognitively. He's picking up math and reading just like that. Technically, according to his age, he's not to start kindergarten until not this next fall, but the whole year after that. And so I'm thinking like, I just started a kindergarten curriculum with him now. I really hope school district will let us enroll him in our parent partnership in kindergarten, maybe a year early, because he is older for his age. So it's not like it would be such a huge age gap, full year skip ahead grade kind of thing, because his birthday's in October, which is close to the beginning of school. So we're kind of figuring that out as well. So anyway, that's kind of an update on my 3 children. But in terms of home, I have been, since I've kind of had this change of heart, like I really, really do want to keep homeschooling. I have really kind of in the last month or so just dove in headfirst into really researching curriculums. Point with Alex, it's just been so easy. Like I have basically just been eclectic with how I have been teaching him everything. And, I will look at like the Common Core standards and say, okay, it looks like, we need to learn this, this, and this. Let me get some workbooks on those things, or let me just explain it once and he's got it. We have been working on like spelling, and reading is so intuitive, or even did a proper reading curriculum with him. He just picked it up without effort. But I'm starting to see that he's now that because he was such an intuitive reader, there are some gaps in his like phonetic understanding and understanding phonics and spelling, and that's behind those things. And so I realized, okay, we need to do a little like remedial catch up in terms of phonics and spelling and grammar and that kind of thing, even though really well. I realized like, oh, maybe I should have been taking somewhat of a more systematic approach with teaching those things for him, because there are some gaps now that we are catching up to. I've added a curriculum for him. So I actually, I'll tell you what curriculums I'm using. And if you're interested at all in me doing reviews of these curriculums, I'd be happy to do that, because I'm like in curriculum mode right now. So anyway, I decided for this year, I'm going to change it next year, but for this year, I decided to do the Good and the Beautiful love for Alex, just to get that foundation of phonics, grammar, spelling, just where those holes are and that kind of thing. Oh, is the internet connection bad? I'm sorry. I hope it's not my end. It looks like I have pretty good Wi-Fi here, so hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, it's saying my connection is unstable. Try moving this and see if it makes a difference. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on just a second here. Okay, there. That went away. Is that better? Okay, hopefully that's better. Okay, so what was I saying? So yeah, so with Alex, I am doing the Good and the Beautiful level 1, which is really like a second grade curriculum. And so that's been going pretty well. And I'm also doing all about spelling to just really go back and do those phonics basics in terms of spelling and spelling rules and that kind of thing. Even though it's, level 1 is flying through it. And then, I think level 2 will challenge him a little bit more. So I'm planning on doing all about spelling for him long term, and maybe even for Sophie and Teo down the road. The Good and the Beautiful, it's been okay, but I have, and it's very comprehensive. It's, I feel like it's covering everything it needs to cover, but there are some things that I don't like about it. So we're actually going to be changing language arts curriculums for next year, and on doing lightning literature for Alex next year, which is a pretty comprehensive language arts curriculum as well, that's literature based. So so that's what I'm thinking for next year for him, and then all about spelling. And then for Sophie, like I said, she's been having difficulty with because I think she probably has ADHD, she's been having difficulty with picking up reading. And it's like she's in first grade now. Alex is in third grade. Sophie is in first grade. And Teo is preschool, pre-K. But likely has ADHD. She's really been struggling with picking up reading. And I had done a curriculum review on the Learning Dynamics program that we were doing with her for reading starting last year. And she was just moving. I thought it was going to be a great curriculum, but she ended up moving so slowly through it. And once we got into a little bit more difficult reading, like they didn't explain the rules of how to read certain words very well. And it felt like it was just moving too fast and she wasn't picking up on those concepts. And so I was like, okay. And it was, it was ending in tears every time. And she didn't want to do it. She was saying, I hate reading. I was like, oh no, we don't, we don't want that. So I pulled back, we took a little break and I was like, you know what? I need to get into researching curriculums because I was like, I don't want her hating reading. This approach clearly is not working. We need to try something else. So, I love YouTube because there are so many homeschooling moms out there. And I did a ton of research and kind of decided that I wanted to settle on a what's it called? The Orton Gillingham approach. I think that's what it's called. It's used for dyslexic kids. I don't think Sophie is dyslexic, but it can help when there is a learning difficulty of some kind because it shows all of the phonics rules and spelling rules, even like making rules for all the exceptions because English is a crazy language. And it breaks it down and it makes it very systematic. I thought, okay, I think that's more of the approach that we need to take with Sophie because she is struggling more with learning how to read. So the curriculum I settled on is Logic of English, and that is exactly what it sounds like. It is the logic of English, making it much more logical. So I'm actually still waiting on that curriculum to arrive now. But in the meanwhile, I've just been supplementing her reading with IXL. I use IXL, the online practice program, for just to supplement language arts, math, social studies, science, and Spanish for Alex. So I do love IXL. That's kind of like the background consistent thing we have going all the time. And I'm also doing with Sophie Explode the Code, is a phonics. It's a series of workbooks that are, lots and lots of practice on basic phonics. So that has been helping her. So I'll do the Logic of English, which will cover reading, spelling, and they go into, I think, a little bit of literature as well, especially as the levels go up. They get into a little bit more literature. I'm really excited to start that with Sophie once that arrives, and I think she's going to thrive with that a little bit more than the previous curriculum that we were using. So and then for Teo, I am using the Good and the Beautiful Primer K, or K Primer, whatever they call it. It's like the first kindergarten reading, also using kindergarten math for him. So the Good and the Beautiful kindergarten math. So that's mostly what I'm doing with him right now. I'm basically just starting kindergarten curriculum with him. And once he finishes the K primer, I'm actually going to move him to doing the Logic of English as well. So yeah, and then the math, I'll talk about math in a second. But for now, I'm basically just focusing on, reading and math with Teo. And of course, just doing other fun things. He comes to our parent partnership with us and he does, the classroom activities and things like that. And, gets to do a lot of the hands-on stuff that way. And of course, we do art projects and, other like preschool, kindergarten type stuff at home. So that's what I'm doing with Teo. In terms of math, basically, I have just done a piecemeal, eclectic math thing with Alex all along, like I have with everything else. And that has worked really well for him, like, because he's so good at math. Like, he just picks it up, like it's very intuitive for him. I've just gone through the Common Core standards. I was like, okay, here's the next thing we need to learn, get a workbook on that. Here's the next thing we need to learn, get a workbook on that. That's what I've done with him since kindergarten through now third grade, and it's worked pretty well. And he's, excelling in math. So that's been good. It has been getting kind of difficult to keep up with constantly looking at what does he need to learn next, and then finding a workbook that goes with it, and it's a lot of work. So I really wanted to find a more comprehensive math curriculum that he could just go through. And Sophie was also struggling with math in the same way that she has been struggling with reading. Um, I tried the Good and the Beautiful level 1 math, and like, she liked it, and it's pretty, and it's a pretty curriculum. It's fun. They do games and it's artistic, but it seemed like it was just there wasn't that much direct instruction about the concepts that they were teaching. I mean, maybe it was just me. I can talk more about that if I do a review of it, but um, it's a spiral approach, which means that, they introduce a topic and around and review everything they've done before. And then they introduce a new topic and they come back around and review everything they did before. So, like spiral curriculum like that. It just wasn't working for her. Like, she enjoyed it, but she fast. So that was another reason I really started researching math curriculums. And I researched all sorts of curriculums. I looked into um, Singapore math, Math UC, that other one called the really traditional one. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called right now. But I looked into several math curriculums, and I really liked Singapore math, which is literally how they teach math in Singapore, because they have the best, like, math scores in the world or something like that. And so they're way effective, but it's really expensive curriculum. And so I was like, maybe I can find something that's a little more affordable with a similar philosophy. And so I think I finally found it. I found Math Mammoth, and it seems to be very similar to Singapore math. It's not quite as fancy, and it's kind of basic, but it is colorful, and it is a mastery based approach, unlike the um, the Good and the Beautiful, that was a spiral based approach where it was just moving a little too fast. Mastery is you focus on one thing at a time, get really good at that, and then move on to the next concept, get really good at that, and then move on to the next concept. Occasionally come back and review, but for the most part, just get, really good at one thing at a time. So that is what I started with Sophie, and she has been doing much better with that, much, much better. And I am really pleased with it. And it is a fully comprehensive math curriculum. So you can start in first grade and go all the way. I think they go through like 6th or 7th grade or something like that. And it is based core standards, and that's important to me. I want to make sure that the curriculums I'm doing are covering all of the Common Core standards. If my kids eventually go back to public school at some point, if I change my mind, I want them to be, so that they can jump right into public school. And I believe it's so important to have these standards that are a part of what really should be part of a basic education. So that was about the Good and the Beautiful math, is it's not based on Common Core. But I'll go into that if I do a review later. So anyway, Math Mammoth, we're doing that. So I'm thinking next year, we'll just finish doing the eclectic thing for Alex for math this year, and then I will start him on Math Mammoth next year. And I will also start Teo on the first grade, because he's just flying through the kindergarten math now. So that's what's going on with that. I have decided that next year I also want to do social studies, history, and science at home as well. We've been doing those through our parent partnership this year, but I think next year I found a science curriculum that I am stoked about. I am so excited about it. It's called Scientific Connections Through Inquiry, and it is a secular program, and it's really scientifically sound and fun. The kids, like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It's going to be really fun to do it with the kids next year. And in terms of history, I think I'll make a whole video talking about the approach I'm going to take with history. But we have a history series at home today. So if you're interested in how I am picking curriculums for history, science, or anything like that, let me know in the comments. So yeah, I think we're going to be doing that next year as well. And I think, so we'll be doing a lot more at home next year, because this year we're doing a fair amount at our parent partnership, but I'm thinking I'm going to bring some of those subjects home for next year, and, you know, still have the kids in the parent partnership, but do things more like PE and art and Spanish. Spanish is a non-negotiable for me. So have them take those classes there, but then we'll do all these other core things at home. So that's kind of my homeschool plan. So that is really, we're now 46 minutes into this already, so I should probably wrap this up. But that is what's been going on. We've had lots of, you know, big mid-year changes in curriculum in homeschool because, you know, trial and error. You kind of figure out what works as you go. I was just telling Bill today, like, Teo is going to be really lucky that he is the third kid, because I've kind of, you know, used the first two kids as guinea pigs now and figured out what works. And now I can just do the things that work with him from the beginning. So that, you know, that's the advantage of being a third child. So anyway, that's what's been going on in my world. Leave a comment and let me know what's going on in your world. And if you are homeschooling, I'd be really curious of what curriculums you use. And if you're interested in me doing any videos on those specific curriculums, doing reviews of those, let me know, because I'm really interested in curriculum. There's still, you know, I'm a teacher at heart. So I find this stuff really interesting. Oh, it's saying again. Sorry about that. So, all right. There it goes. That's better. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you guys for, if you stuck with me for almost 50 minutes now. This is a really long live. But yeah, just wanted to come on and give an update for what's been going on. So hope you guys are, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.